Mr Deputy President, and when I sit here and listen to the arguments of the other side in this debate and during question time, I'm reminded of that great show, that great American children's TV show Sesame Street. The children up in the gallery perhaps are more recent viewers of that show than me, but I remember that there's a great song in Sesame Street called "One of These Things Is Not Like the Other." And the reason I think of that song when I hear their debate is we've spent now 2 days in the Senate, quite a long time yesterday afternoon, arguing about to censure a senator, a very serious motion, a very serious act of this parliament, about a sentence he said, about an analogy that he made that was slightly mangled, that he came in and apologised for later. And we've wasted hours upon hours of our time to make this censure motion. And this song came to me because yesterday when I was hearing this debate I thought, I'm only new to this place. What other acts and behaviours have we censured in this place in the past? We've got over 100 years of history. Presumably there's some kind of precedence here for censure motions, and what actually acts constitute the need for a parliament to censure someone. And you go to Odgers and it says on page 461, Odgers says, "Ministers have been censured for matters as varied as misleading the Senate, failing to answer questions on notice within the stipulated time limit, maladministration of a department, attempting to interfere in the justice system of another country, failing to declare an interest in a matter for contemptuous abuse of the Senate, and for refusing to produce documents in compliance with an order of the Senate." All very serious matters. Now, when we come to do the next edition of Odgers, unfortunately, and the clerk is here, unfortunately the clerk is going to have to add a little phrase there to say, and someone was also censured for mangling an analogy and subsequently apologising for it. Now, one of those things is not like the other. I don't know which one. There's about 10 serious acts there, and another one, it's not like the others. It's not like the others there. And yesterday, though, we've had this faux outrage from the other side about this, and I think it is appropriate that we do think of Sesame Street when we talk about the Labor Party's approach to defence policy in this nation, because it is as if their defence policy is written by Muppets. It is as if their defence policy, Kermit the Frog would do a better job than these guys are doing right now at writing defence policy. Because I walk around this place and people put stickers in their windows all the time. You know what's going on. I saw a humorous one in Senator Cameron's office earlier. It was quite good. But I saw one. I keep seeing these bumper stickers in Labor senators' offices saying "Build, design and maintain here." And it's got a picture of a submarine on it, and it says "Build, design, maintain here." And I go to the Senate report that Labor senators just signed off on in the Senate Economics References Committee, and nowhere in that report do they make a recommendation to build, design or maintain ships here. So they're putting these bumper stickers presumably on their cars as well. They're driving around their electorates, they put them in their offices, but they didn't make that recommendation in the report. Why didn't they make that recommendation in the report? Because no one made that recommendation to the Senate Economics References Committee. No one, not one expert, said we should build, design, maintain submarines here. Because everybody knows that we're not going to build, design, maintain ships here. We may do a component of the work here, and the government is still considering how much that might be. But we are not going to design the submarines here. We're not going to be able to do all of that work here. All of the ships we're currently building, which were approved and contracted for under the Labor Party, were all done with substantial amounts of work from overseas. The previous submarines that we have built, the Collins class, which the Labor Party hold up as a template for the future, much of that work and much of the equipment comes from European submarine companies. The weapons systems come from American submarines companies. So these guys over there are not producing a proper defence policy. They're producing something that can't be attained, that even themselves don't want to put their name to. Then the other interesting thing, Mr Deputy President, is I'm here, when you read through the Labor senators' report that they released a couple of weeks ago, they say what they want is an open and transparent contracting, tendering process. They want it to be open, transparent, they want it to be competitive, open to everybody, except on one page report they say the Japanese can't apply. So it's open and competitive, but we can't have Japanese ships, because that is right, Senator Abetz. That is right. I wish I had the words. The words are another debate here, but I don't have the report on me. But there is a sentence in that report that says we shouldn't go ahead with the Japanese submarine right now. Why? If we're going to have an open and competitive tender process, what have you got against Japanese submarines? What is against it? The reason they're doing this is because they're running a political campaign, not a defence policy. It's not a policy to defend the future of our nation. This government is focused on making sure that our policy is put in place for the best interests to defend our nation. Over there, they're wanting to get grabs for the late night TV.